I know this is hard for you, but winter is coming. We know what's coming with it. We can't face it alone.
And you'll never face it alone here. We know the Arctic air is coming. It's just a question of exactly when and how low will it go. We'll take a look at the latest models next. Please help us get 10 new subscribers today. Subscribe for future shorts, daily, and live severe weather updates. Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman here, with a special update on this expected Arctic outbreak as we wrap up the month of November and going into December. Now, I'm first going to start off by taking a look at what we're seeing as far as snow cover, as far as the continental United States right now. Obviously, we're still about a month off from the official start of winter, but snowpack is important because when we're talking about Arctic air invading into the United States, the more snowpack you have down over the land, the less likely that air mass is to modify. So we're going to be doing a couple things for this update. We're going to be looking at expected snow coverage that we're expecting over the next couple of weeks, and we're also going to compare the European and GFS models as far as the depth or how extreme that cold air might be. Now, as you can see, currently we don't have a whole lot of snow. We got a lot out there into the Rockies right now, and we got a snow here falling across portions of North Dakota right now. In fact, I can show you some of that video right here, showing a little bit of snow there falling across portions of North Dakota right now. But that's just the start, and I think we're going to be adding to that. So let's go first take a look at where we're expecting the snow to fall over the next 2 weeks. Let's check that out. So the first model we're going to look at as far as expected snowfall over the next couple of weeks, we're going to take you all the way out to December the 5th, is we're looking at the European model here. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is the short-term stuff, okay? We got a couple of storm systems here we're going to be tracking here up into this upcoming weekend. So I'm going to take you all the way out into Sunday afternoon here as I'll stop it right about there as we're looking at snow here in the west, obviously, with that big system coming in off the west coast. And we got an upper level feature here that's going to be dumping some snow across areas of New England as well as we go into this upcoming weekend. And then beyond that, we're going to be looking at potential waves of snow that's going to build that snowpack across about the northern third of the United States. Going in toward the day after Thanksgiving, we're looking at a potential snow in here as well. It's a little bit far off, but something we're looking at. And then as that cold air continues to invade into the country, we're going to continue to see these systems just continue to dump snow. And we'll definitely see it start to pile up here across portions of Canada. So again, as that cold air blows over that Canadian soil, it's not going to modify that much, and the more snow that's in the continental United States, the less likely it is for the temperatures to begin to modify. One thing's for certain, I'll tell you this: you're looking at that kind of this pinkish hue out here in the Rocky Mountains are here, especially across California, going into Oregon and into Washington State. We're talking 4 feet plus of snow, 4 feet. A lot. In some areas, maybe you can get up to 7, 8 feet of snow across California. We're talking it's going to be that thick. So let's go ahead and break this down by the region. We'll first take a look at areas out in the west here in the northwest. As you can see here, just a tremendous amount of snow across Washington, Oregon, through California and Idaho. Again, you see that kind of off the chart there kind of view of some of that snow that's falling into that region over the next 2 weeks. So significant snow is there. And then even the Northeast looking at its fair amount of snow as well. Not as much out on the West Coast, but still, you're looking at in here to the higher elevations across portions of Maine and into Vermont and New Hampshire, a couple of feet of snow, even a little pocket here across portions of New York and into areas of, say, Pennsylvania, into the Poconos, and then down here into the Appalachians as well. So we're going to be building some snowpack into the Northeast as well. So what about the GFS? Let's go look at that one. So what's interesting as we're looking at the American GFS model as comparison to the European model is that they seem to be in fairly good agreement, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. Let's first again looking at the short term here as we're going to take this all the way out until about Sunday afternoon, so we'll stop right about there. As you can see, we're getting that snow's out here in the west. Sierra Nevada are going to get blasted very heavily across California. And because of that upper level low, we'll see the snows again across portions of Maine down into the Appalachians as well. They look like they're fairly close together here as far as the amounts for those locations. Now, as far as we go out beyond this again, as we take this out going into Thanksgiving week. Again, it looks pretty quiet there. This one, though, going into Thursday, it does appear to show some sort of snow. It's a little bit further south than the other models. So we're going in from Colorado into Missouri, where the European model was a little bit further north. So the GFS model is a little bit further south with that next little potential snowstorm coming in there, and then it makes the turn and augments the snow there across portions of Pennsylvania and into New York as we go into the 1st and 2nd. So it's going to take this all the way out to the end of its run here. Again, we're getting a very similar picture. Maybe not as much snow here across areas of Canada as the European model was showing there. But overall, we're still showing a trend of snow. And it looks like it's a little snowier here on the American GFS model here across areas of the Dakotas over to Minnesota into Wisconsin as well. So that's just the differences. But overall, you're still seeing roughly about a third of the country expecting decent chances for snow over the next couple of weeks. And with that is going to be the cold air. So let's go ahead and compare the cold air between those two models. So we're going to start with the American GFS temperature model first. What we're going to be really kind of paying attention to is those purple colors and then kind of that greenish grayish hue color, which is where you kind of see your below zero temperatures coming in. And we're going to kind of track this over the next 2 weeks to see how this is going to work out before we kind of look at the individual regions and look at the temperature profiles, okay? So we're just going to kind of drag this first through the next couple of weeks here. So you're going to watch that. They're definitely going to watch a very big increase across the purple, and then eventually that, again, that grayish greenish hue that's going to come into the country as we go into next week. So it's looking pretty uniform here. It'll be cool here into the east for this weekend. Not looking too bad here across the eastern portion of the United States. It's definitely the coldest up in here for right now as we head for this upcoming Sunday. But as we go into next week, that's when the changes start to take place. We get a brief warm up there on Sunday, looking at the oranges there across Texas and obviously Oklahoma and Missouri. That's the mild air holding on for one more chance before it gets pushed down out of the way heading into Tuesday. It starts to push it on south. But you notice you start seeing this color up. You see the purple and you see that color there, that grayish color there. That is the below zero temperature. So watch what happens with this as we go beyond Wednesday of next week, okay? We start to see a deliberate increase there. We start seeing it really start to plow and increase across the northern tier of the United States. And as we go in through the heading toward the 1st of December, really starting to see it increase here and starts to expand rapidly here and pushing across the country. So you're seeing a lot of cold air here covering with below zero temperatures, or below 32 degrees temperatures, covering a big swath of the country, potentially again heading toward the 1st week of December. So let's go ahead and break this down by the region. We'll start by the West Coast here first. As it's going to stay relatively chilly out here for the most part. We'll see some brief warm-ups here across the south. Obviously, you see down here across Arizona, California, Texas, seeing the warmer air. Not bad for this upcoming weekend. We start to modify the west just a little bit before that real cold air kind of pushes in for the western portions of the United States. So again, going into this upcoming weekend, not bad. It'll be cold across the areas of the Dakotas and into Montana, seeing single digits there for, say, Sunday morning. It's pretty chilly up here, pretty nippy for a lot of areas here across Montana, seeing a lot of single digits sitting up into there. But we're really kind of tracking that real cold stuff, that real Arctic air that's going to really kind of settle in here with that below zero stuff. You start seeing it there going into Monday, kind of a glancing blow here. You're seeing below zero temperatures here up across southern Canada and coming into Montana. At least that's kind of the teaser, I like to call that one for that. And then as we take this on out through the duration of this model run, you see it just generally just increasing more and more, covering a bigger area. Look at that. Look at these. These are temperatures going into Wednesday afternoon. I mean, we're talking 30 degrees below zero. This is some very bone-chilling temperatures up in here. And that if this model verifies, of course, this is a far out. We're talking about some record low temperatures here across this area for the early December to see lows that low for this time of year as we go into, say, December the 4th. And then I'll take this all the way out to the end of its run. But you see very cold temperatures for a lot of the country. Heck, you're even seeing cold temperatures getting down even into Southern California. They're getting into the 30s. So some very nippy weather out into the west. How about the central portion of the country? We look at this one as well. Again, you can kind of see there, we're looking at a little bit of break off of some below zero temperatures here coming in here toward the 6th. And look at the 20s and 30s coming all the way down to the Gulf Coast here. A lot of 20s in here as we head toward the 1st week of December for the central portion of the country, and as well as for the eastern, which we kind of holding on to a little bit of some mild air, at least briefly. That's not going to last as all this cold air is pushing off in this direction as we head toward the 1st week in December. So the trend is colder for sure, and we're definitely going to see much of the country become an icebox if the GFS verifies. Now let's see how cold the European is in comparison. So when it comes to the European model, we definitely have a little bit of a difference of opinion here as far as the depth of the cold air. It's kind of interesting that the European was more robust with the snowfall, but it's not as cold with the temperatures concerned. The GFS was definitely much colder on its run as compared to the European. So I'm going to show you that right here. Again, we're going to kind of watch that purple hue. That purple hue is kind of like your 20-degree temperatures, really up and below. And then again, that greenish grayish color is your below zero temperatures here. So as we go through this upcoming weekend, we definitely see a lot of the country's definitely on a bit of a cool side, but not dramatically cold, okay? But then as we go through next week, that's when things begin to change. As we see some of that cold air start to pull on down and start to push it off toward the east. So we're getting that. You clearly see that by Tuesday. We got another cold front coming through here with things starting to cool on off. But as we go past Thursday, because that's when we were seeing the real cold air start to come on in, it looks like it kind of keeps it mostly up into Canada and does not really push it down into the continental United States. Not nearly as bad as what the GFS model was showing. So it's not nearly as cold here on the 3rd out here in the western portion of the United States. And we are getting a reasonably chilly air here across the east. We're definitely seeing the cool down, but you can clearly see the big difference between the two models here. You can see some below zero temperatures here on the tail end of this coming up here toward the Dakotas and maybe up here into the higher elevations into Colorado, but definitely not as cold as the American GFS is going. It's pretty aggressive with its cold air. It may be, again, a situation where we're kind of maybe something in between the two models as far as the depth of the cold air that's there. Let's go ahead and break it down by the regions once again, like we did with the American GFS. We'll start out here in the west. Again, as it's they've been staying kind of chilly out west for the last month or so. They've been running kind of below normal out there. As you can kind of see the fluctuations with the daytime heating here this coming up Friday. I mean, this is not bad here across Southern California, Texas. Definitely some milder air there, but a bit chillier here, obviously up into Montana, into the Dakotas, into the 20s for afternoon highs. Now, as we go into the weekend, again, we'll see things begin to chill down here a little bit across the west, except for the southern tier just a bit. There's the coldest day going into Monday here, one of the coldest days. A lot of single digits down here into Colorado, stretching up through areas of Montana, especially at the higher elevations there. Few temperatures there below zero there, showing up on the Monday, the 25th. And as we go ahead and take this on through again, we're just not seeing nearly. Remember how cold that other model was showing. You're seeing the up here on the 1st, the cold air up here, but this is not diving southward as the GFS was showing. It's kind of moving it off toward the east and not bringing it down to the south. So there's a difference of opinions on that as that moves off toward the east. And as it does so, then we get another little shot here toward the end here coming in here again as we head in toward, say, Wednesday the 4th. You clearly see a little patches of below zero temperatures in there as well. It is chillier down here in Southern California, but again, not as bad as the GFS model was showing there. And that, again, the cold pattern will continue. So I think both models are in pretty good agreement here as far as the cold air is concerned. Let's go ahead and look at the tail end of this run as we look at the central portion of the United States. Again, a lot of 20s in here for morning lows going all the way down into Texas in here, but and some colder temperatures in the higher Rocky Mountains, some single digits up here across the Dakotas and into areas of Minnesota. But again, not nearly as cold as the GFS is concerned. And as far as the eastern parts of the United States, a little bit of differences here as it's showing a cold pool here, pretty cold weather here across New England. If you remember, the European model was showing it kind of a little bit milder there across the east. And this is just showing a kind of a little bit milder along the Gulf Coast, not nearly as mild up down the eastern seaboard as we go in toward, say, December the 5th and into the 6th of December. So basically, just bottom lining this, we're definitely heading toward a colder pattern across the United States as we wrap up November and December. I think both models are in pretty good agreement there. I think we're going to see several opportunities for snow across parts of the country, especially the northern third of the United States getting opportunities for snow. Both models are in agreement there. As far as the amounts, they differ just a little bit there. Where we have a pretty good discrepancy is how cold it's going to be. The GFS is extremely aggressive, showing some below normal temperatures that would be record-breaking, whereas the European model, it's cold, but not quite as cold as the American GFS. I think it might be something between the two models. The trend is definitely colder, and if you like winter precipitation, if you like winter weather, it is definitely coming. Winter is coming. All right, that's your special update here for today. You guys take it easy, and don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like to get little features like this in your YouTube feed on a regular basis, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below if you appreciate this report. All right, you guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.